Muneeb Qadir is there. Muneeb, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, let's start at the beginning, but then take it right to this day, right now as we are in 2023. Has Pakistan come far enough?
I think it's been a very tumultuous, 76-year period for Pakistan. We've been through lots of ups and downs. I think a lot of challenges, and the point that we've gotten to today, I think, is unprecedented. I mean, the kind of challenges that we are faced with, whether be it an economic crisis, which is deepening by the day, or rising terror incidents, rising security issues, and along with it, a lot of political instability, which we've been seeing only on an upward trajectory ever since Mr. 9th April 2022 last year, after he lost the vote of no confidence. So Pakistani government and state are fighting wars on a lot of fronts right now. And now that we are headed towards another general election with the appointment of a caretaker prime minister just recently, Mr. Anwar Kakar, instability and uncertainty, they keep on haunting us to this very day. And so despite it being our Independence Day and people celebrating, there's a certain section of the society which doesn't particularly seem to be in a celebratory mood.
So who's to blame for this? It can't be the people of Pakistan. It's got to be either the politicians or that other actor, the army, stroke intelligence services, or it's outside influences, the international community. It's got to be one of those three, right? It's not the people of Pakistan who are creating the problems.
I think it's an unending vicious cycle which just feeds into itself. So it becomes a bit circular as well. It becomes a classic, where did the chicken, what came first, the chicken or the egg question, in the sense of, the fact that, yes, in Pakistan, there is this feeling, and also, I mean, the global community and international media, they always point out the fact, that it's the military establishment, or as it is otherwise known as the deep state, or the establishment which controls everything and which runs the show. But at the same time, we should keep in mind that, in my opinion, it's the establishment and the clerics. They both hold, a lot of sway over the political direction of the country. And politicians try to appeal to these two powerful quarters, the establishment and the clerics. They always try to play to the gallery, so they know that these are the kingmakers in the country, and hence it's a bit unfair to pin down all the blame on politicians or on political parties, because that it's not them all the time who calling the power, who calling the shots, but it's someone else, more undemocratic forces from behind the scenes. So who to blame? After a certain point of time, yes, you can say that it's the establishment which has authored all the country's fortunes and misfortunes. But the politicians, the fact that they have not been able to hold up, to stand up on their ground, or to stand up for civilian supremacy, the blame lies there as well. And people, the fact that they have been so radicalized and polarized, even though I cannot pin the blame on them, I think the public at large are also making matters worse. So from every single quarter within Pakistan, I think there is this sense of things completely falling apart. And it's, that harmonization, that, political unity, which is the need of the hour now. Whether that will ever come, whether we will ever get to that point, seems very unlikely in the current given political climate.
So we've still got a large part of the country recovering from last year's massive flooding. We've got the International Monetary Fund publishing a paper or an analysis which says that the country could be close to an economic collapse. But Muneeb, I just want to touch on this final point. You mentioned the influence of the clerics. Up until about 25 or 30 years ago, I couldn't literally find a single Pakistani, maybe I don't have enough Pakistani friends, who knew the difference between a Shia and a Sunni, or at least wanted to draw attention to the differences between a Shia and a Sunni. This country was created as a safe haven for India's Muslims, and in the past 25 to 30 years, all human rights groups have been making the calculations and showing that thousands of Shias have been killed by Sunni extremists. That is a massive tragedy for Pakistan.
It's a huge tragedy, and unity has remained an evasive goal for all these years, because yes, the idea was that the Muslims of the subcontinent needed a country of their own where they could not be discriminated against. But then at the same time, seeing such deep sectarian divide, and also there is the problem of religious minorities. The question is, have they attained their rights? Have they attained their access to not just, I mean, their civil political rights, but even the economic and social rights? And that, as Pakistani, makes me feel that I, even on an individual level, and that we on a collective level, have not nearly done enough to ensure that there be rule of law, and first of all, no discrimination, because Pakistan was created with the aim of protecting, like you said, creating a safe haven for the minorities of the subcontinent. It cannot be that you then also, in your own turn, oppress or suppress your own minorities. But at the same time, those Pakistani who work day and night and putting their lives at risk in giving voice to the voiceless minority communities, be they religious minorities or ethnic minorities or even sexual minorities in Pakistan. I think that it's a day to celebrate their contributions. They might be a very tiny fraction of the Pakistani population, but they do exist, and they have my utter and total respect. So standing up to clergy, standing up to extremism, and which has in its wake only harmed Pakistan and nobody else. The intensity of harm that Pakistan has suffered at the hands of extremists and at the hands of terrorism. It should be a moment for introspection for all of us Pakistanis. Do we have a national action plan in place, and are we implementing it? Which, number one, protects religious minorities, ensures interfaith harmony, and also condemns and puts an end to hate speech and divisive speech and polarizing speech, which only fuels the fires of terrorism. Do we have such a national action plan in place? And if not, then that should be our number one goal, because I believe that Pakistan's economic woes, Pakistan's political woes, are all related to this one evil at the very root of it, which is a lot of intolerance, a lot of sectarian divide, and a lot of extremism. This needs to be countered on an urgent basis.
Muneeb, thank you so much for your time. You really have given us a flavour of the issues facing people who live in Pakistan like you. People like me observe it from further away. Thank you so much indeed, Muneeb Qadir. Happy Independence Day.